A dragon egg can actually make a man reach the pinnacle of life. He is none other than the genius boy known as the Black Light Gathering Place. Huan, at the moment when he picked up the dragon egg, he obtained the old dragon code again. What kind of lucky person is this? It's so lucky that people and gods are outraged, because with these two treasures, you can start your own counterattack. God blocks and kills gods, and Buddhas block and kills Buddhas. When all the knowledge points in the old dragon book burst out in the mind, including the types of dragons and advanced secret recipes, as the saying goes, only by knowing oneself and knowing one's opponent can one be at ease. With superior exercises, it is also necessary to carry out practical exercises in order to achieve a thorough understanding. Speaking of which, Huan had already begun to carry out the dragon transformation ceremony. The ceremony went well, and Huan also had this dragon with the same skin as the Smurfs. As long as you have a dragon, you can fight monsters and upgrade all the way. The little guy stared at a pair of big Keslan eyes and looked at the world curiously. Don't look at it. It's harmless to humans and animals. It's very cute, but after the skill enlightenment and the bloodline ascension, the whole shape instantly became crazy and cool. The combat effectiveness is also directly increased by several thousand. Huan stood on the top of the mountain and looked into the distance, secretly swearing in his heart, "My beast is the dragon of the future." At this time, the human fortress, the City of Dusk, is engaged in a battle of beasts that covers the sky and the sun. A large number of dragons of unknown origin crashed into the City of Dusk as if they were dying. There is a feeling of a strong man breaking his wrist. Under the desperate resistance of the human side, some of the dragons were shot down in the dust, blending with the ruins and ruins. The entire battlefield is also scorched and miserable. Suddenly, a black-red thunderbolt pierced the sky. It turned out to be a giant red dragon, and it fell straight from the sky when it was injured. And this giant dragon is the head of 10,000 dragons. The ancestral dragon, a holy one, the guardian of the City of Twilight, suddenly felt bad when he saw this situation. Seeing this, Atta, the guardian of time, hurriedly asked the Holy One, with the fall of the ancestral dragon, "Is there no hope for the human world?" In order to preserve humanity's last hope, Atta decided to leave the queen himself. He plans to set himself on fire with the time dragon, and then use this power to travel back in time. Atta believed that if only he could send the Holy One back to the past with his ingenuity, he will surely be able to rewrite the fate of mankind. The Holy One reluctantly said that the great gods of the forbidden gods, who were good at the mysteries of time, are peeking at this battlefield. None of us can leave our time. However, the Holy One still seems to have a whole guard. He swung his staff and slammed it into the ground. In just an instant, his body was enveloped in a dazzling light. He chanted the mantra with words in his mouth, and when the chanting was over, a shout suddenly rang out. It turned out to be a summoning ritual. What slowly emerged from the light was the old dragon codex. The Holy One looked into the distance, sad and resolute. "Let people who do not belong to this era rewrite the fate of mankind." As soon as the words fell, the Holy One used all his strength to send the old dragon code back to the past. This is humanity's last hope, and it must not be lost. With the activation of the powerful energy array, he barely broke through the battlefield full of gunsmoke. But even so, the movements of the Holy One were observed by the forbidden gods. The god of forbidden said disdainfully, "O small human beings, any futile struggle before the destruction of your destiny will only make you look more pathetic." At this time, the Holy and Atta, too, were aware of the existence of the forbidden god. All humble hopes will be swallowed up by despair. As it spoke, the forbidden god cast a spell and blasted into the time portal, and the Holy One and Atta shouted that it was not good. The Holy One's eyes are full of desolation, and perhaps the god of forbidden is right. Humanity may really want to disappear in the ruins of the times, without the slightest hope, but it can't give up. After all, he is also the hope of mankind. Yes, we are dust, but we are also heroes. So let's see the wrath that comes from the dust. The soldiers who were fighting fiercely underground were muffled, and when they heard the sound, they all looked at the tower. "This is the ritual of sacrifice." The Holy One cried out to the multitude, "This era is over. Warriors, will you be willing to bloom with me in the fireworks of the end times?" Warriors, who regarded death as their home, responded to the call of the Holy One. "We are humble as dust, but we are not to be trampled on, and we will coalesce into sandstorms." The Holy One shouts to the Chosen One of the past, "O Chosen One, please accept the gift from us in the future. It will travel back in time, to the distant past. It will plant the seeds of hope for the future of mankind and open another civilization." Time flies, and finally comes to the old wasteland era of the Beast Trying Star. A group of people called Beast Masters rely on a variety of powerful Beast Master partners to conquer the world and establish a gathering place. Enjoy the world's top resources. Beyond the gathering place, however, lies a wilderness full of dangers. All kinds of undomesticated wild beasts are infested. Innocent humans. One of the most famous gathering places is naturally the Black Light. It has stood for centuries in the midst of a perilous apocalypse. And the current castle master of the Black Light gathering place is an extremely powerful professional beast master. Even the mechanism of the special training of the beast master in the Black Light Castle was created by him. At this time, Huan was standing in the notice board, looking at the notice issued by the Black Light official about the enrollment of the Beastmaster training camp. It is written in black and white that no idlers will be raised during the special training. Those who fail to hatch successfully at the end of the 3-year period will be directly incorporated into the collection team. And if they are dissatisfied, they will be killed directly. Huan held the dragon egg with a sad face. To be honest, he didn't know if he would succeed, but when it came to choosing between the Beastmaster and the gathering team, he still liked the former. He hugged the dragon egg tightly, like a kind old father. It's kind of funny that something rusty is unfamiliar. Feeling anxious, he felt very confused about the future and the cold night. Tomorrow is the Beastmaster training camp, the last day of the 3-year course. But Huan's eggs have no intention of hatching until now. Although he was unwilling, he did not dare to disobey the above arrangement. After all, it is as powerful as the Black Light City, and the rules are all iron. Just when Huan was extremely anxious, something suddenly attracted his attention. I saw that in the dark night sky, there was something like a meteor, which opened a bright opening in the sky. I saw that the point of light became brighter and brighter, as if it was about to illuminate the entire night sky like day. Suddenly, the point of light seemed to have a life, and it crashed straight into Huan's eyebrows. This force was too strong, so that Huan, who was hit, fell to the ground in response. Unconscious, although it seemed to be fine, the force was quietly changing him. In a nightmare dream, Huan saw a giant dragon flying in the sky like splashing ink, huge claws that can almost blow up their entire body. On the other side, there was a giant dragon with a red body, and its eyes emitted a demonic red light. And the black dragon is also hideous and abnormal, and it doesn't look good. On the body of the red dragon, a mysterious man is crouching on it. He had a spear in his hand. Subsequently, one man and one dragon drifted away. Huan, who was in a coma, vaguely heard someone calling him. The next second, he was woken up from his sleep. When he looked closely, he saw a thick, long, rubber-smelling whip that had been pasted into his face. He looked up in disgust, only to find out that the person holding the leather whip was the instructor of the Beastmaster training camp. The instructor scolded him. The Beastmaster special training trainee is not authorized to stay in the castle. You kid, did you lie here all night last night? Recruit from the truth, or be careful. You're welcome. Huan was a little confused when asked. Stay overnight. Sleeping on the street by yourself is considered a night. It's outrageous. Remembering everything from last night, why is it so real? Recalling last night's dream, the dragon and the Beastmaster were really powerful. The instructor on the other side saw Huan talking to himself and didn't pay attention to himself, and he immediately became angry. What are you kid muttering there? When I don't exist? Don't pretend to be stupid here. As he spoke, the instructor whipped Huan in the face. The hideous wound suddenly emerged. This is the method of the special training instructor of Black Light City. I heard that you are going to report to the search team today and go to the field with those lowly homeless people to dig for food. The instructor said contemptuously and slightly mockingly. The instructor took advantage of Huan's violation of the curfew to plan to teach him a hard lesson. I'm curious if you'll ever be able to make it back alive from the wild after giving you 30 lashes. At this moment, Huan's eggs actually began to show signs of hatching. Even when the instructor saw it, he was so stunned that he forgot to put down the whip in his hand. He hurriedly asked Huan what was going on. Huan was a little overjoyed and even forgot the pain on his face. Are my eggs going to hatch successfully? Does that mean I don't have to pick up the trash? I did it. I can become a Beastmaster. I don't have to go to the wild to dig and eat. And my 3 years of hard work have not been in vain. A few families are happy and a few are sad. And the instructor at this time is a little confused. It's really not a coincidence that the guy who was dragging the tail of the oil ball crane just now has become a quasi-Beastmaster. The instructor immediately saw the wind and changed his face. Huan, congratulations on passing the last test given to you by this instructor. Those who achieve great things have to be tempered a lot. I'm going to call the special trainer now to confirm the identity of your Beastmaster, and you can ascend to the sky in 1 step in the future. Don't forget the instructor me. Suddenly, a crisp female voice stopped the instructor. He also said, You don't have to go about this little thing. The two of them followed the prestige, and the person who came was the chief instructor of the special training of the Beastmaster of Black Light City, and the chief instructor of Lu. She walked up to Su-Han and ordered Su-Han to try to communicate with her Don to see if there was anything abnormal. Su-Han was a little confused. I'm just a father-to-be, and I don't know exactly how to communicate. Su-Han didn't want to miss the opportunity for identity authentication because of a simple communication, so he hugged the balls numbly and began his own earthy love story. Not to mention, this trick really works. I saw that the eggshell was directly soured by Su-Han's love words. Su-Han smiled innocently and finally reacted. Lu on the side was very satisfied with his performance. She patted Su-Han's shoulder and said, "It seems that we have another young Beastmaster in our Black Light base camp." At this moment, Lu's face sank suddenly, as if he had sensed something dangerous. She immediately asked how the injury on Su-Han's face was done. "Noble Beastmaster, how can he leave such an ugly scar on his face?" Su-Han, who was ready to repay his grievances with virtue, didn't think about it and pointed directly at the instructor. "Well, this is the masterpiece of this benevolent brother," Lu asked in a gloomy voice, beating up the Beastmaster. "The young man is very punished. Don't you want to see the sun tomorrow?" But then I thought that today was a good day for new members to join in the Black Light. Lu didn't want to make a big deal out of it, so he finally fined the other party 20 lashes, and then sent a collection team. This verdict is tantamount to a death sentence to the instructor, and he will never want to raise his head and be a man in the last days in his life. The instructor cried with pear blossoms and rain, begging Su-Han to intercede for himself. However, at this moment, Su-Han's mind was all on the balls, and he didn't bother to pay attention to him at all. The castle where the black lights gather, with sharp edges, solemn and solemn. It has witnessed countless battles and battles in the past 100 years. Under the leadership of Lu, Su-Han came all the way to the office of the Lord of the Black Light Castle. The other party's name is Shohei, and he asked Lu, "This kid is the first newcomer in the second half of this year. One can imagine how precious the Beastmaster is." Lu replied excitedly after hearing this. "Oh, yes, I heard that he was going to report to the search team, but he didn't expect to succeed in breaking through on the eve of adulthood. All in all, the reward for this junior is indispensable." Shohei laughed out loud when he heard this. Good boy, able to break the kettle at the last minute. This spirit is to be admired. But then, Shohei became serious. He told Su-Han that it would give you the choices for now. "First, since your eggs are scaly lizards, I will provide you with a dragon scale containing the blood of a higher dragon creature to help you hatch quickly, which will greatly increase your potential. Second, when it's time for you to breed your second beast, I can let you pick one from my collection." Su-Han thought to himself, 10 birds in the forest is not as good as 1 bird in hand. He decisively chose to enhance the dragon scales, and Shohei seemed to be very satisfied with the young man in front of him and the decision he made. He said happily, "I will send someone to send the dragon scales over in the afternoon. I hope you cannot forget your original intention. Contribute to the gathering place." After 3 years of training, Su-Han has a deeper understanding of what it is like for a daughter-in-law to become a mother-in-law. The moment his wish is fulfilled, the joy belongs to him alone. In addition to the castle, the Black Light gathering place is divided into 2 areas. The inner and outer areas. The residents of the inner district are dignitaries and dignitaries in the Black Light City, and the environment is relatively clean. The environment in the outer area will be worse, which is equivalent to the place where the residents at the bottom live. And Su-Han's home lies in the outer district. At this time, there were bursts of painful wails in Su-Han's house. It turned out that Su-Han's sister was practicing family law on him again. The reason for this is that he did not return home that night. "My sister was very angry. I went to the outer district to look for you last night. I can't get in anywhere else, but you know how to come back. Your ears don't want it anymore." At that moment, there was a sharp knock at the door. Hearing the sound, the 2 people who were still playing just now looked at the door together. It turned out that it was a promotion reward sent by Shohei, a dragon scale used to strengthen. The visitor was full of respect. "Please keep it properly by Su-Han. I wish you prosperous martial arts and smooth progress of beasts." The contents on the tray made the sisters stunned. This is a wealth that they once dared not imagine. My sister was even more overjoyed, riding the beast and advancing. "Brother, you're out of luck. You've become a Beastmaster." She held Su-Han in her arms. "If your parents knew that you succeeded, they would be very pleased. Our family's old house was sold at a loss, and my brother was also a character." Just when the 2 sisters were immersed in joy, Su-Han suddenly noticed that there seemed to be outsiders present. In this way, the 3 people looked at each other with 3 pairs of eyes, The scene was embarrassing and burned paper for embarrassment, and the embarrassment died. So my sister immediately changed the subject, and she pretended that she still had a job. Leave time to Suhan, and before leaving, he told him to treat the guests well. Then, as the sound of the door closings ended, outside the door was my sister's heartless laughter, leaving only the two people in the room with a confused face. Such a big contrast with my sister also made Suhan speechless. However, it is imperative to check if there is anything missing from the delivery. If nothing else, the thing in front of him should be the enhanced dragon scales that the castle lord Joe has said. At this moment, Suhan noticed the dragon scales in his hand and seemed to have received some kind of induction. Immediately after that, a dazzling light burst out from the center of Suhan's eyebrows, which complemented the dragon scales in his hand. It was a familiar feeling, and it was a bright light that I was hit on the head that night. Immediately after, something like a classic appeared in Suhan's mind. That's right. It's the Dragon Codex. A whole set of advanced procedures emerges on it, and the composition of each step is clearly written on it. Such a huge amount of information made Suhan a little overwhelmed for a while. It wasn't until half an hour later that the tired Suhan ended this exchange with Baojin, thinking back to the four words of the scaly lizard dragon in his mind. He felt like he was empowered, and he seemed to think of something. You know, the adult dragon snake lizard is a top dangerous species. It could easily wipe out an entire small gathering place. Look at the dragon egg in front of you, and the intermediate dangerous species scale lizard in your hand are completely different species, and the dragon's blood root looks a bit like a purple-brown root. I don't know if it's useful or not. Thinking of this, Suhan couldn't help but think of the female disciple of the castle, Master Shohei. As talented as she is, the beasts hatched are only high-level dangerous species. Thinking of this, Suhan couldn't help but have a bold idea in his heart. If you can hatch a dragon snake lizard, maybe everything will be possible. With that, he hurried to the only pharmacy in the outer district. Not only that, but he also threw a few gold coins and bought a lot of supplies. When he returned home, he immediately turned into the Jade Rabbit of the Moon Palace, mixing everything he bought, like a wizard who was concocting a mysterious potion. The juice is then made into a nutrient solution and poured into a vessel for cultivating eggs. If his conjecture can succeed, maybe he can also be Joer's apprentice. 10. Suhan put the dragon egg into the magic circle drawn in advance. With a burst of golden light, the egg slowly began to react. Suddenly, a dazzling dragon emerged from the eggshell. The faint golden light makes it extremely powerful. The dragon stretched its wings and began to embrace this strange world. In just a few breaths, all the light returned to the eggshell. And that's just the beginning. Just to hear the eggshells in the petri dish start to click, Suhan watched Dandan's every move nervously. With a click, the eggshells seemed to crack further. Suhan's heart was full of frowed eyes, whether it was a top-level, dangerous dragon snake lizard or an ordinary scale lizard. The night passed, and the training ground at the Black Light Castle seemed no different than before. Even the beastmasters in the castle are practicing their techniques in an orderly manner, and the person who supervised their training was none other than Liu, the chief instructor of the special training camp. I saw that her face was solemn and unsmiling, and she was like to people when she received Suhan. There are beastmasters whispering during training. I heard that Suhan hasn't even hatched the eggs yet, and now he has been training for 4 days. Will they have died at home? Suddenly, Liu seemed to sense something and hurriedly turned his head to look. It turned out that it was Suhan, who had not come to participate in training for many days. Liu said dissatisfiedly, "You have finally come to train." The beastmasters on the side all sweated for Suhan, and they actually dared to give Liu a medicine. This kid was 80% useless. Seeing this, Suhan immediately explained, "Mr. Liu's special training. I deliberately skipped the training, which is really helpless." Liu felt a little curious after hearing this. "If you have anything unspeakable, you'd better give me a reasonable explanation, or you'll know the end." After hearing this, Suhan turned his head to the backpack and said proudly, "Come out, little ones, and let them see the world together." I saw that in Suhan's pitch-black backpack, a pair of shiny Carson eyes appeared. It turned out that this was the product of Suhan's training for several days in a row and tinkering at home. The dragon egg was successfully hatched by him. The little guy has a pair of bright eyes and looks at the world curiously. He was still grunting. This scene directly made everyone present dumbfounded. This little guy is no ordinary scale lizard. Although the appearance is cute, everyone feels a strong coercion. It's a dragon snake lizard. Liu called out the little guy's name in surprise. Suhan succeeded. Liu didn't dare to delay too much, and early took Suhan to see Joey. He would be happy to find out. It turned out to be really a top dangerous species. Shohei slapped the table incredulously. The first cultivation directly unlocks the rare top dangerous species. Young man, you're really unusual. Shohei immediately ordered Lu Yu to investigate who was responsible for making Su-Han's dragon egg. After the investigation, he immediately notified the secretariat and fined him 3 months' salary. Mixing something as dangerous as a dragon snake lizard into a scale lizard almost ruined a genius. Then, Joey calmed down his anger and comforted Su-Han. After all these years of special training, I really wronged you. If you had been given an ordinary egg, or a high-risk dragon egg like my apprentice, I'm afraid your achievements would have been extraordinary. But starting with the top dangerous dragon snake lizard, you will definitely be no weaker than anyone else in the future. Su-Han said excitedly that he would live up to the expectations of the castle owner. Joey continued, to this day, in the special training camp I founded, there can be such a genius as you. Amazing and tenacious. I'm very pleased. The direction of the story was completely unexpected by Su-Han. Joey threw an olive branch to him and wanted to take him as an apprentice. Even if it was expected, Su-Han still had to pretend to be surprised and ask back, what the? Is what you say true? Even Lu Yu, who was on the side, couldn't help but be surprised when he heard it. It's been years since I've seen the castle owner so excited. After 3 years, the castle master actually moved the idea of accepting apprentices again, and it just so happened that this person was a rare genius. Su-Han knew that this was a good opportunity to improve himself, so he agreed without hesitation. Joey saw that Su-Han had such a talent, and he could be so humble. Naturally, it is also happy in the heart, so we immediately decided to set up a banquet tonight, with a beast master who had no task to attend, to witness the birth of a genius beast master. The black light fort was brightly lit and held until late at night. Sister Su-Han was also invited to attend as a relative. After the end, Joey arranged for the pro guards to send them home. Su-Han told his sister that he now has a salary of 100 gold grams per month, and he will redeem his old house when the time comes. My sister was very happy to hear this, and she couldn't earn this 100 gold grams for 3 years. She called Su-Han really grew up. Su-Han sent his sister home to rest. After all, her sister still has to go to work tomorrow, and Su-Han himself continued to study hard. He summoned the dragon and began to teach himself the basics of the species. The difference between ordinary creatures and dangerous creatures is whether they have an innate talent for using energy. As a top-level dangerous species, the dragon snake lizard is naturally not weak in energy talent. In addition to the more common vicious attacks, the other 6 common racial skills of the dragon snake lizard are a dragon sleep that quickly recovers from physical strength and injuries, including most low-level dragon races. They will have low-level dragon power and low-level dragon power, a powerful destruction skill of the Earth system. The Earth Spear Sacrifice. The destructive effect is a must. It is also a geopower drain for Earth-based recovery skills. It is worth mentioning that the combination of ground extraction and dragon sleep can make the life of the dragon snake lizard tenacious, which can be called an unbeatable xiaoqiao. The last one is the extremely powerful evil system skill, evil mind breath. It is also the strongest skill of the dragon snake lizard, and has the destructive power of almost low-level dragon breath. As he spoke, Su-Han looked at the dragon snake lizard, sleeping soundly in the cat scratching board, saying to myself, I believe that you will become very strong in the future. Sure enough, with just such a sentence, the little guy grew up directly and visibly with the naked eye. Sure enough, it is a top-level dangerous species, and even the growth rate is so terrifying. The Blacklight Castle, which has no strife, is particularly holy in the morning light, and Su-Han also began to learn from Joey how to become a professional, qualified, and excellent beast master. Joey's suggestion to Su-Han was to test the strength of the little dragon snake lizard on the strength of the 3-line energy talent first. Select one for focus training. And Joey also exposed himself to the Lindel, and he was a talent for specializing in the study of evil. And this is also the first time Su-Han has seen the legendary seal. The so-called sigil is a prop that can contain a huge beast into a dormant space, so that it can quickly recover its strength. After all, once the beast master enters the mature stage, the size will be very large, and it is impossible for the beast master to have only one beast master. Therefore, it has also given birth to various beast control peripherals. Saying that, Joey also showed Su-Han his beast, a giant black wolf, in size comparable to Fenrir in Norse mythology. Joey introduced that this is a congenital race level, second to level horror species, and the acquired cultivation level has reached the level of complete high-level horror of the Scarlet Wolf. It is also the main beast control beast in the early years of the division, and it is perfect to test your dragon snake lizard. Su-Han and the little dragon snake lizard are a little confused. Are you sure this is the right name? One hasn't been winged yet, and the other has been fighting on the battlefield a few times. How can it compare? Shohei saw Su-Han's concerns. The Scarlet Evil Wolf was a terrifying species that combined your evil attributes with your beast attributes. You can't put the dragon snake lizard down now, and then it's on its own. The little dragon snake lizard trembled in the shadow of the Scarlet Wolf, and it would never have thought of going into battle with a bottle in its mouth. And the Scarlet Wolf, which was as powerful as Fenrir, even Su-Han trembled in front of it. The little dragon snake lizard barely managed to squeeze out a fierce expression, but it didn't survive 2 seconds. Su-Han was helpless, so he had to comfort him verbally. It's okay, just come on. Shohei saw that the time was ripe, so he immediately ordered the Scarlet Wolf to use the evil desire breath. Open the eyes of the little dragon snake lizard. And by the way, you should also pay attention to the heat. I saw that a huge energy body quickly condensed from the mouth of the Scarlet Wolf. But suddenly, Shohei immediately ordered to stop, directly interrupting the forward shaking of the Scarlet Wolf. And the wolf was also directly confused. For the little dragon snake lizard, he may not be able to digest it if he shows it too much. It's just that Shohei suddenly stopped, which made Su-Han on the side a little confused. At this time, looking at the little dragon snake lizard, all the body was shrouded in a cloud of black gas. The eyes became more and more vicious, and they also emitted a demonic red light. The red light turned out to be exactly the same as in that dream. Shohei said with relief, "It seems that the little guy follows the master. Talented. You can learn it as soon as you learn it." Was recognized by the teacher, and Su-Han worked hard to cheer up the little guy. Maybe it's because of the exertion. The little guy is tired of his hiccups. Shohei knew that this little guy had already initially comprehended the evil energy. These purple smoke are the prototype of evil thoughts and breath. You found a treasure. This dragon snake lizard is very talented. Just by looking at the initial movements, you have already begun to comprehend the skill. It doesn't seem like there's a need for Crimson Wolf to do the test. As he spoke, Shohei held up the seal and took the Scarlet Wolf back. Seeing that the strong enemy disappeared, the little guy also breathed a sigh of relief. Unexpectedly, in the next second, Shohei directly released a larger platypus bear. He introduced that this is still a 3 series, special horror species of the Earth system, the Beast system, and the Monster system, the Crustal Platypus. So let it be your sparring partner. The little guy was already too scared to help himself, so he hid behind Su-Han and hugged his thighs tightly. The eyes left tears in their eyes, and it was not what they would say when they were born and died. Su-Han immediately turned into a calf protector father. He questioned whether it was inappropriate for Shohei to directly use the super horror species as a sparring partner. Shohei thought about it for a while, and Su-Han seemed to have some truth in what he said. So let's change it. I only heard a bang on the field, and a huge dragon claw appeared on the field, and the huge mouth of the blood basin is constantly spewing out a rolling heat wave. You're right. In the face of such a genius beast, it's too easy to use a super dangerous species. This is one of the main forces of the division, a perfect combination of fire, dragon, evil, and rock, and it is also the only dragon beast in the division, the lava Tyrannosaurus. Su-Han couldn't help but be shocked. Shohei actually had so many ceiling level beasts. He immediately asked Shohei, "Is it rare to see dragon beasts?" Shohei replied, "Of course, it's rare to see a stinky boy, especially the gifted dragon beasts are even rarer. You are lucky to hatch this dragon snake lizard, otherwise this dragon snake lizard will not be able to take your turn at all, because the newcomers will not be able to subdue it at all, and even the veteran beast master will be enough to choke." Su-Han knew in his heart that it must be the dragon Diane that played a role, and this must be kept secret. Then the training was about to start. Shohei looked at Su-Han and his beast. "Are you ready? We're going to get started." And this lava Tyrannosaurus stared at him like this. The little guy was already trembling with fear and burst into tears. Shohei's hand stretched forward. "Lava Tyrannosaurus, let's use a little bit of dragon power to see how endurable this guy is." The lava Tyrannosaurus roared, opened its mouth wide, and stared at the little guy with red eyes. "And this dragon tower is coming towards us." We look at this dragon tower in a little panic, and we don't know how to deal with it. This dragon tower directly pushed me back several meters, and I could only hide my face and bow my head to resist. What a terrible coercion. I felt as if I had turned into a small boat in the middle of a stormy river, ready to be overturned by the pressure of this higher being. The teacher suddenly appeared behind me and patted me on the shoulder. I don't know how I got here. The teacher opened his mouth to remind me of my behavior. Stinky boy, don't stand within the range of the attack. In an instant, the coercion was eliminated. Is this the ability of the teacher? I did not feel any change. How powerful does this have to be to eliminate Long Wei at will? After that, Joey felt incredible, looked at my beast, and was stunned. The little guy actually held on. My beast stood strong, feeling the dragon's might coming at me. After that, the teacher continued to instruct the lava Tyrannosaurus. Put a little more pressure on the little one. Hearing the order, the eyes of the lava Tyrannosaurus were even redder. Once again, it roared towards my beast, more powerful than the previous dragon might, and I don't know if it will be able to survive it. As a result, the little guy had closed his eyes with difficulty, stepped on the ground tightly, and did not retreat. Joey looked at this situation and was thinking, is it still impossible to support it? And I was nervous. The ensuing situation did not make the castle owner not expect. This is a faint vortex formed around the little one to fend off Long Wei, albeit weakly, but this little guy is really using the low-level dragon power against the medium dragon power of the Tyrannosaurus. It's really an unimaginable dragon talent, and it is still unknown whether it will be able to break through the shackles of the horse species in the future. I finally relaxed. When I heard the teacher say this, I happily asked him, is it so strong? At this time, the teacher seemed to think of something. Right, so he asked me, did you use those dragon scales? I explained, teacher, you sent someone to send it and you used it as soon as possible. It seems that this little guy has absorbed the special substances contained in the dragon scales very well. It may even be possible to successfully inherit the trace of dragon blood in the dragon scales, which causes the dragon talent to surpass the other two talents so much. The teacher took out the book and handed it to me, and I have sorted out the training methods and techniques and reproduced them in this booklet in the form of a spiritual imprint, and it also comes with the most suitable basic spiritual tempering method for you while training to control pets. Don't relax the spiritual practice. The power of the soul is the power of the master itself, and it is also the foundation of the master and the pet. I happily took the book. I am very happy that the teacher will give me this. Thank you, teacher. After leaving the castle, I calmly bought back the old house. The other party knew that I had become a master, and he was very polite for a while. Taking advantage of Suchin's lack of work, I reorganized and cleaned the old house early. Looking at the house in front of me, although it can't be restored to the appearance in my memory after all, it is always a matter of heart. Before I could tell Suchin the news, I decided to go to my sister's place of work, pick her up, and surprise her. Let's go. Let's pick her up on the way to get off work. On the way, I saw this vicious dog barking viciously, as if it wanted to kill the things in front of him. It turned out that Suchin was shouting in fear, already frightened. When I heard this voice, I immediately realized that something was wrong, and the little guy was still confused. It's my sister Suchin. I immediately ran in the direction of the sound, and the little one lay on my stomach with a little panic in my grief. My sister was so frightened that she didn't dare to move, so she could only say, let them go. Go away. But it didn't work. The three little thugs stood in front of him, and I said, Sudie beauty, what are you running? My dog doesn't bite. The blonde man in the lead waved his hand with a courteous face. They were just playing with you. This vicious dog came to Suchin's feet. She waved her hand anxiously. Hurry up. The man on the side laughed. The three of them looked at her obscenely. If you are willing to play with me tonight, my dog will not need you to play with me. Hearing this, I was furious. Play. I'll play with your mother. I ran towards them with the rock, and the three of them noticed it. I hit the vicious dog with a direct and hard blow, and it screamed, and the other vicious dog was stunned. The little one immediately jumped on my back, and I came up to my sister and looked at the three of them. Plus a dog. The surname is Ku. You're a street slick. Stay away from my sister. Don't think that because your dad is the head of the plantation, everyone has to give you face. The blonde man looked at the vicious dog that fell to the ground and was very surprised. My Charlie, apparently dead. He immediately got angry. Little bastard, you dare to hit my Charlie. Then command the other dog to attack. Jack, come on, bite him to death. The dog immediately ran towards us, and I was a little overwhelmed by the dog. Me sister told me to run fast behind me, and I looked nervously at the vicious dog with a rock. The vicious dog leaped to its feet, opened its fangs, and bit at us. Just as it was about to bite, I raised my hand to resist, and the little guy on my shoulder barked and looked at the vicious dog with glowing eyes. Then he collided directly with the vicious dog, and the vicious dog was bitten by my beast and vomited blood. I relaxed and looked at the little one, who was biting at the neck of the vicious dog, and in a few moments it was dead. I waved my hands and shouted happily, "Good job, little one, bite him to death." At last the little guy tore off a piece of meat before he would give up, and the vicious dog could not die anymore. The three of them looked nervously at the situation in front of them. My dog, you're so fucking daring. Tamed took out a knife and wanted to take revenge on us. Tamed ordered the two people behind him to copy the knife for Lao Tzu and stab him to death. Three men immediately rushed at us with knives and stabbed him to death. And I have already reacted, raising my hand to command my beast to release my dragon power. Little guy immediately roared angrily and unleashed Long Wei at the three people. The three of them were already trembling, and Long Wei was around them. I'll go. What's going on? The two behind him began to persuade. Boss, this guy is a bit evil. I think we'd better be cautious. There were just 3 new guards, and the captain shouted to everyone, Hey, what are you guys doing? Look over there. The guards are already here. Why don't you let them torture this guy? We have room to maneuver if anything. Hearing this suggestion, I am familiar with the guards around here, and I will let them detain this dog mongrel first. He just looked at me, and when he entered the detention room of the garrison, we would concoct him, and Lao Tzu would not be able to use any means for him. Then I looked at my sister again. Suchin looked cute. I don't know why. He immediately showed a lewd expression. I have already begun to fantasize in my mind, and when I cripple this mongrel, Lao Tzu will directly face her sister Suchin in front of him. Lao Tzu's dog can't die in vain. Holding the knife, he let out a her smile. This captain came here and saw the men in front of him. Isn't this Ku Shao? What's the trouble? All 3 looked at the guards on the side. Jai Shao pointed at us. Brother Zen, it was the mongrel who killed my dogs on the street for no reason, and the means were extremely cruel. Get him back to your garrison and lock him up. My sister looked a little scared. Captain Zen ordered his men to go over and detain him. Stinky boy, you actually dare to kill Ku Shao's dog. You'd better be obediently restrained. Don't let us be rough. I threw the stone and landed in front of the 2 of them, and they stopped. I pointed to this brick, and it was this brick that killed the dog. And I asked for a brick to say, the little one hid behind 2 people, one with shackles and the other with a gun. The kid dares to be so rampant in the street. When you enter the detention cell, you are comfortable. In this case, the little one poked his head out, as if sensing danger. Then he immediately roared, opened his mouth wide, and was surrounded by his own dragon power. After the 2 of them saw it clearly, they realized that it was a beast, and they were both terrified. I took out another sign so they could see it, and this, open your dog's eyes and see what it is. A big word on the token is on it. 2 of them were already frightened and overwhelmed, and their bodies were trembling. This was, then the 2 of them immediately turned their heads to look at the captain behind them, pointed at me, and shouted their heads. Captain Zane was already sweating, and it had recently spread in the upper echelons of the gathering ground that the castle lord had accepted a new disciple. Could this be the main man? He immediately took out the gun from his waist, fired a shot into the sky, shouting presumptuousness in his mouth, and the 3 people on the side were frightened. The muzzle of the gun was aimed at Jai Shao. Ku Tian, you actually gained up with others to commit murder on the street. It's just presumptuous. Then he ordered the 2 people behind him to immediately torture Lao Tzu, and if they dared to resist, they would be killed directly on the spot. In the end, the first to bear the brunt was Jai Tian, who had been ruthlessly tortured. Jai Tian also wanted to explain. Captain Zan, I'm a victim. Are you mistaken? Captain Zan, my dad is Ku Dingchuan, the warehouse supervisor of Plantation 05. Zane Jun, Lao Tzu will give you benefits. As a result, before he finished speaking, he was already blown away by Captain Zane's feast, and one of his front teeth was knocked out. Captain Zane looked at the 2 of his subordinates seriously, and dared to resist arrest and smoke him for me. Then there was a crackling sound, and the 3 of them were only beaten. Master Su, this slut dared to commit murder against a dog. Fortunately you acted bravely, otherwise I don't know how much trouble it would cause. I chuckled expressionlessly, and the 3 of you handled the case in a timely manner. Master Su praised it falsely, and Captain Zen became nervous. These 3 guys fell into the hands of my Zhang Jun, and they have to shed their skin if they don't die. Are you still satisfied? Master Su, barely enough. Whether this guy dies with you or not, I'm sure I'll look for him anyway. Hearing what I said, Captain Zane already knew what it meant. My lord, I know. I looked at my sister behind me. Let's go. Sister, it's all right. Let's go home. I held out a hand to take my sister back to her new home. Me sister nodded happily, hummed, and smiled happily. To held hands, and we went home. Brothers, do you say, is it better to offend the director of a plantation, or to be hated by a master? Then you don't have to think about it. You must not offend Master Pilot, otherwise we don't know how a few of our little people die. The captain patted him on the shoulder and said, well, Xiao Chuin, you immediately go to the team to find a carriage. Lao Dong and I are waiting here, and we will escort the three of them to the garbage incineration site for a while. Give them directly, and the three of them are already trembling with fear. The captain made a clicking gesture on his neck, and you can imagine what happened to them. When I got home, my sister shouted happily, "Oh, that's great. I didn't think we'd be back here one day." My sister looked at the decorations around her. Her eyes were shining with gold. It was like a dream. I took out a bunch of keys. Don't be excited. Come, here's the key to the house. Sister, repossessing the old house is just the beginning, and the days will get better and better in the future. My sister turned her head happily. Take the key with both hands. Sister believes in you. We will definitely get better and better in the future. The little one also reached out and shook it together. Then I heard a knock on the door, and I turned my head to look over. I opened the door and looked out curiously. Oh. The man smiled and explained, "Oh, you're really a noble person. I'm Deputy Director Guo of the Plantation Management Office." My sister poked her head out and said, "It turned out to be Deputy Director Guo. Do you have anything to do? I just got the news from the garrison that Ku Dingchuan's son actually offended Master Su, so I naturally want to help with his favor. I plan to transfer him to No. 30 to plant and farm, and become an ordinary farmer. All the wild beasts are rampant there, and there will be accidents at both ends in 3 days. But I think Ku Dingchuan has really said that he has been a supervisor, and he can't always adapt. Dare to ask Master Su if he is still satisfied." I nodded, and the director had a heart. The little one also reached out and whispered, "I heard that Sister Ling seems to be a senior agronomist in our plantation system, so I transferred to the agronomy department of our management office as a deputy director." Su Qing pointed at herself nervously. "Me, I'm not suitable. Am I? Suitable? Suitable. You are the sister of Lord Su. Then it is naturally suitable. If you have anything in the future, you can come to me at any time. Then I'd be respectful and obey. It should be. Seeing that my sister agreed to come down, I was a little embarrassed. The matter of Vice Captain Guo, it seems that as long as we become stronger, we will be able to have more privileges. Then he began to make the little one's food, and a large bucket of things was poured into it, not knowing if it was enough. "Come on, just take one more bite. This is an excellent formula from the teacher, specially suitable for your body. Eat it quickly to grow up to become stronger." But the little guy shook his head a little aggrieved and looked at me pitifully. The formula of breeding and controlling beasts has 8 grades from inferior to qualified. Good, excellent, 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 extraordinary, and perfect. What the teacher gave was an excellent formula for evil pets. This recipe is already precious to a rookie master. But why didn't you eat it after only 2 bites? I look at these prepared foods. Is it a problem with the ingredients? That's when I remembered. Yes, Old Dragon Classic. I still have this. Then I summoned my Old Dragon Codex. But the little one still didn't want to eat the food. Dragons and snakes are born to devour the eggshells of pet eggs and stop eating for a long time. At the same time, dragons, snakes, and lizards are more picky in taste and prefer to eat live animals. I think I might know what the problem is. The living thing is the breakthrough. I touched the little one's head, and I'm going to give you a new recipe. I get a lot of money from my teachers every month. Let's eat with confidence. Eat openly. Eat the best. And grow up quickly. For the next few days, I raised the dragon snake lizard according to the recipe from the Old Dragon Codex. I went to the seafood market to buy a big fish alive and take it home to cut into pieces. The little one really liked it, gulping down food with fresh fish. But it also leads to a terrible question. Isn't it? It's only been 5 days. There was only 1 coin left, and it fell to the ground with a thud, and then it rolled to the side of his tail. The little one has transformed into a big one, and it looks at the coin curiously, and its mind can't figure out anything. Although the money bag has been emptied, the dragon snake lizard has broken through the juvenile stage and entered the growth stage. If you encounter the 2 vicious dogs that took a lot of effort to kill at the beginning, the current dragon snake lizard doesn't need to use energy skills at all. Go up and pounce on the vicious dog, opening its mouth wide, and with another wave of his claws, the vicious dog was slapped away. Tear it up again, bite off its head. You can kill each other in a breath. A piece of cake. With this level of skills, ordinary people don't have thermal weapons around them, and they are afraid that they can't pose a threat to the dragon snake lizard at all. Even if 3 or 5 ordinary adult strong men face the current dragon snake lizard with weapons in hand, they can only be killed in seconds. That's right. The teacher said that once the dragon snake lizard enters the growth period, he should go to the castle to find him. It's just that he's too appalling to enter the growth period in just 5 days. Maybe the formula in the Old Dragon book is really extraordinary or perfect. In this case, it is all the more important not to expose this secret. It seems that the next focus is to start training the dragon snake lizard to be civilized and proficient. The frequency of formula feeding should be stopped for at least 10 days. 10 days later, I came to the castle and knocked at the door with my beast. There was also a voice from inside. "Come in," the teacher said. "I haven't seen you kid for a few days. What's the matter? Slacking off?" I scratched my head and was a little embarrassed. "Teacher, I've been doing my best to cultivate dragons, snakes, and lizards these days, so I haven't come to the castle to train every day. And by feeding you the food cultivation recipe, the dragon snake lizard has successfully entered the growth stage. How can you be so scared?" The teacher was amazed to see that the beast had grown so big. I asked him, a little embarrassed, "Isn't 10 days fast?" "Teacher, isn't that fast? It took a full month for your 8th senior sister, by Susu's ice lotus pod, to go from infancy to early stage of growth. How fast do you want it to be, stinky boy?" Moreover, her ice lotus is a high-level dangerous species, to levels lower than your dragon snake lizard. I breathe a sigh of relief. "Whatever you want to shoot, as long as you don't pursue this abnormal growth rate." But in this way, it seems that it is not only talented in skills, but also talented in growth. Now that it has been cultivated to the growth stage, it is already familiar with the use of energy skills. Is there any cultural energy technology? Longwei has been civilized at the first level and has cultivated 2 abilities, Longwei and Deterrence, and Dragon Might. Shock. Evil Thought Breath has also been enlightened in the first level, and the Evil Thought Breath and Evil Thought Bomb have been civilized. The teacher was also surprised. "What, are you kidding? Is it possible to hone skills to such an extent in such a short period of time?" I immediately began to compliment the teacher, and it was all the result of the teacher's good teaching. Fortunately, I didn't tell the dragon power, the ground spear sacrifice, and the dragon sleep and evil attack that I realized on the rooftop last night. The teacher really didn't mistake you. Let's go to my exclusive training ground and let the teacher see the quality. We went to the castle owner's private training ground, and the 2 sides started training face to face. "Let your dragon snake lizard behave well, and if the performance satisfies me, I'll give you a seal. After all, the dragon snake lizard is getting bigger and bigger, and you've experienced trouble as a master. How can you not have a handy seal?" I looked at the beast in surprise. "Little guy, it's up to you whether you can get a seal from the teacher's white prostitute." Teacher stretched out his hand, and the ring on his hand glowed golden red. Then a behemoth appeared. "Hojian Shunjuing, play with this little guy." We looked at the beast and Frownzy in place. "Teacher, how many horror pets do you have? Each summon is different." There are no pet teachers who are too weak, and there are only a dozen or 20 horror species controlled by the teacher. At the level of thick armor rock Junjun and lava Tyrannosaurus, there are only half of them. "Okay boy, do you want my seal? It's time to show your strength and test the results of your training for the teacher." The teacher immediately stretched out his hand, and Ojian Shunjuin also roared accordingly, bursting out of his own way. This type of impact breaks, and my beast and I can only resist it with difficulty." Immediately, the little guy's eyes were red, and he was surrounded by purple light. I looked at its situation, and it actually launched its own dragon power deterrence. The teacher looked at its performance, and it was good, and it was able to resist the coercion of the whole body in the state of growth. Then he raised his hand to ask Hojian Shunjuin to stop. After seeing this performance, he still needs to test others. Hojian Shunjuin lowered his front foot and smashed it on the ground. "Put some water on you, by, and attack with evil thoughts and breath. Now is the time. Dragon, snake, lizard, breath with evil thoughts, and the dragon snake lizard immediately spit out evil thoughts from its mouth and continued to accumulate strength in its mouth. With a final bang, the evil thought bullet from the dragon snake lizard's mouth shot forward. Seeing that the power of this evil thought bomb was very huge, Hojian Shunjuin stood in front of him and waited. As a result, it smashed on the head of Hojian Shunjuin, and it was gone. The teacher continued to instruct. "By, didn't you eat? A few more to tickle Shunjun, and the corners of my mouth are slightly raised, and I am confident. Continue to stretch out your hand to command, dragon snake lizard, and play with evil thoughts." The dragon snake lizard immediately shot 3 evil thought bombs in a row, flying towards the thick armor rock bear king. This evil thought bomb smashed into Hojian Shunjuin's head continuously, hitting a point. In the end, he actually smashed a small hole in the head of Hojian Shunjuin. Hojian Shunjuin immediately became angry, and the teacher looked at Hojian Shunjuin beside him with some surprise. Good boy, he even developed the ability to breathe evil thoughts. and cultivate the ability to use the skills of evil thoughts bombs without making a sound. Using the adhesion of evil energy, using continuous evil thoughts to shoot through beads. The accuracy and speed are not bad. Yes, the teacher has won the prize. In fact, in addition to the coherent beads, there is also a method of connecting the beads, which can cover the attack so that the enemy cannot dodge. The teacher stretched out his hand with a ring in his hand. I am very satisfied with your performance. This seal ring is yours, although it is not as much as the teacher's ring. There are 5 of them. In the future, it's enough for you to contain 5 pets, and if yours are willing to squeeze them, 10 will be enough. Thank you. Teacher, don't be in a hurry to rejoice. Although your skills are well developed, this little guy's combat experience is obviously above 0. Actual combat is the best way to increase combat experience. Next, I decided to send you to Garrison, the northern sector of the line, where there are often opportunities to fight dangerous species. Report to the military command in 3 days, and someone will arrange your mission. There are also 4 lines of defense outside the high walls of the entire Black Light Gathering Place, arching the entire gathering place. Each section of the line of defense is made up of solid fortresses and duck pilots, plus a powerful thermal weapon and soldier composition. Among them, the southern and northern defense lines are the most dangerous, and they are fighting against dangerous species almost every day. Most of the materials involved in dangerous creatures in the city are also the results of hunting from the 4 major lines of defense. Within 3 days, Suhen advanced the next month's master's allowance, which was 250,000 steel grams. Most of them were replaced with dragon snake lizard ingredients, and it took 3 full days to make all of them into recipes that can be stored for a long time. Under the arrangement of the Outer Fort Military Command, Suhan will go to the No. 7 outposts in the northern section and serve as a team member. The 4 lines of defense of the agglomeration were largely set up for the plantations in these wildernesses. After all, the land area in the agglomeration is limited. The food produced by the 7 plantations in the agglomeration area is simply not enough to meet the consumption of 50,000 or 60,000 people in the agglomeration. Working on plantations outside the city is second only to joining search teams, and it is one of the most dangerous industries that the residents of the agglomeration are trying to get rid of. If I remember correctly, the No. 30 plantation assigned by Ku Dingchuan, the director of the No. 5 plantation, was in the security zone under the responsibility of the northern section of the defense line. And we were here very quickly. Master Su, this is the No. 7 outpost station. I wish you all the best. I have to go back to restore my life, so I won't stay long. The people on the city wall looked over. And what was it? The newcomer was actually brought by the chief of staff himself. But no, I heard that it's still a master. You don't see that the cart is full of beast rations. These 2 people reacted. So why are they still stunned? Why don't we help? 2 of them immediately ran down. Master Su, I also noticed the shouting of the 2. How can such a small thing make you do it yourself? That's it. Let's move it. My surname is Huan. You can call me Xiao Huang. And in the future, the No. 7 Sentinel will depend on you to take care of it.